Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video on the Tardis zone. If you like what I have to say, please give the video a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so already. So as you know, I like to scour the internet and to find little interesting articles and basically read them out and give you my thoughts on them. So I found an interesting little article. Now, for people that don't know, when the show came back in 2005, there was well, basically what happened was there was negotiations going on between Terry Nation's estate and with obviously BBC over the rights of the Daleks to use them for the show in 2005. Now, unfortunately, those negotiations didn't go well at first, and this whole article basically reflects on the events that happened. So for fans that don't know, I'll just read this article for you, give you a little bit of the history, and basically read what this article. So this article is by Morgan Jeffrey, and the title of the article is "Why Doctor Who Was Banned from Using the Daleks." Right, so let's get reading and cracking. The Daleks have been part of Doctor Who since almost the programme's very beginning. For more than 55 years, writer Terry Nation's alien facets have plagued the various doctors, have plagued the various doctors, become as much part of the show's furniture as that police box. But Doctor Who's grand comeback in 2005, a revival spearheaded by BAFTA-winning writer-showrunner Russell T Davies, bringing the show back to BBC One after 9 years away, was almost scuppered by the absence of those insane tanks. Copyright Stephen Moffat from Scarborough. I'm just reading what it says there. How and why? Well, the particular peculiarities of the deals that Doctor Who writers struck with the BBC back in the day mean that many of them own the characters and creatures they created for their own individual stories. So basically, everybody that created the character or creature basically owned the rights, is basically what they're trying to say there. For example, while the copyright for the Doctor and the Tardis resides with the Beep, the character of the Brigadier, played by Nicholas Courtney in over 100 episodes, was legally considered the property of writing duo Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln, who originally introduced the character in 1968's Web of Fear. I love the Brig. I have most of the Doctor Who classic episodes I have featured the Brigadier. I love them. The same rule applies to the robotic Yeti and the alien Great Intelligence, both of which Halesman and Lincoln had dreamt up for 1967's The Abominable Snowmen. The Daleks similarly were legal property of their creation Nation until his death in 1997, at which point ownership transferred to his estate. Complicating matters was the fact that while Nation, his estate, owned the concept of the Daleks, their iconic pepper pot design was the work of designer Raymond Kuzik and owned by the BBC. The joint ownership requiring the BBC to secure permission from Nation's estate to use the Daleks led to the problems in 2004. Some 9 months after the news broke that Doctor Who would be returning to television, it was announced that the Daleks would not be part of the revived series. Now, I remember that we were all waiting to see. It was touch and go, obviously, and then obviously when the statements came out, we thought it was game over. So, in a statement, a BBC spokesperson said, after lengthy negotiations, the BBC and Terry Nation have been unable to reach an agreement on terms of the use of the Daleks. The BBC offered the very best deal possible, but ultimately we are not able to give the level of editorial influence that the Terry Nation estate wished to have. From the Nation estate came a fiery response via Representative Tim Hancock. The estate said it was bitterly disappointed by how the negotiations had played out, suggesting it was looking to protect the integrity of the Daleks while the BBC worked to ruin the brand. Wow. Russell T Davies responded to the disappointing news in diplomatic fashion, focusing on how he and his team would be reinventing Doctor Who for the 24th century audience with new, exciting challenges. We are disappointed that the Daleks will not be included, but we have a number of new and exciting monsters, Davies said, and I can confirm we have created a new enemy for the Doctor which will keep viewers on the edge of their seats. Yes, we have. Yes, with the talks having fallen apart with the Nation estate, Davies was forced to come up with a new nemesis, tweaking his plans for the 2005 series of Doctor Who, so it would be they, not the Daleks, who fought the Time Lords in the last great Time War. The original creation, an evolved form of human race now living as cyborgs, integrated into mechanical shells. An illustration that Davies made of his future human idea appears in the 2010 book Doctor Who, The Writer's Tale, the final chapter. Happily, shortly after announcing the Daleks would be part of the series, the relevant parties returned to the table and eventually were able to hash out a deal. Just a month later, and there was a grand reversal. I am absolutely delighted that the Terry Nation estate and the BBC have been able to reach an agreement on terms for the use of the Daleks in the new Doctor Who series, Hancock said. We look forward to working closely with the production team in the forthcoming months. Mal Young, the BBC controller of drama and executive producer on Doctor Who, also released a statement insisting that while the new Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, would still be coming face to face with a number of new and exciting monsters, it's good news that he will also do battle with his arch enemies, the Daleks. Never want to let a good idea go to waste, Davies would eventually use his future human idea in the revived Who's third series, now rechristened the Toclafane. They appeared in 2007's The Sound of the Drums and The Last of the Time Lords. So, the Toclafane were originally going to be in the fourth series if the Daleks hadn't happened. That would have been quite interesting under Christopher Eccleston, actually, I have to say. Yeah. It has never been publicly revealed exactly the terms were agreed to in order for the BBC to be allowed to use the Daleks, though one rumour the Doctor Who was now under obligation to feature them at least once per series was later quashed by Davies' successor and showrunner Stephen Moffat. You certainly don't wheel the Daleks out because you've got an obligation to provide Daleks, Moffat said at the Royal Television Society panel in 2014. I think Doctor Who is great when the Daleks are in it, and I don't think you should go too long without Daleks. For a child, a year between Dalek stories is an eternity. I remember as a kid saying, why haven't they done the Daleks for ages? It's been 4 or 5 weeks. If you include January's resolution as part of Jodie Whittaker's debut run, there has been then every series of the new Doctor Who since 2005 has featured the Daleks to some degree. Moffat's own successor, Chris Chibnall, ensured all monsters for his first 10 episodes, but only so the Daleks' eventual return would feel especially thrilling. Well, that's a lie, because he originally just wanted to go his own path and he didn't want to include any old villains at all. And the Daleks and the Cybermen in particular, we know he doesn't actually really like them. So that's actually a lie there. He brought them back because ratings are down and now they're being desperate. And that's what they'll do for Series 12. They'll bring back all the old villains and all the old monsters. And probably a few old companions, I wouldn't be surprised, to boost ratings because they're desperate. But yeah, the Toclafane up against Christopher Eccleston sounds interesting. Does anybody else think that storyline would have been interesting for Christopher Eccleston's series, the only series that he done? Yeah, disappointed that he didn't actually do any more, to be quite honest with you. But there you go. There's an article there. Tell me what you think of that. The Daleks nearly weren't in Doctor Who. Obviously, at the time I knew because I was around and I was reading. It was all over the newspapers and everything. It was actually a big deal. And then finally, when it was sealed, then the newspapers then all featured Daleks and all. It was deadly. Yeah, I loved it. So let me let me know how you all what you all thought of the article, and does the Toclafane episode sound interesting? Would it have been an interesting series ending for Christopher Eccleston instead of the one that we got with the Daleks? Or are you glad we got the Daleks back? It could have went, would have been interesting, I have to say. They would have probably been able to eventually secure the Daleks, but, oh well, we'll never know. We did, we will talk about, obviously, when I do my Series 3, the sound of the drums. I'll be doing that. Here come the drums, here come the baby, baby, baby. Love that tune in it, I have to say. Yeah, John Simmons is actually quite good as the master, I have to say. Right, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed that little video. I'll talk to you again soon.